The moment you step into a room with a dog that has never been brushed before, you immediately realize this is not just grooming. It is a story of trust rebuilding from the ground up, and every movement you make will shape how that story unfolds in ways most people never consider. The coat is tangled, matted, and heavy with time, as if it has been carrying the weight of neglect and the silence of missed care for far too long. In moments like this, Dr. Karen Becker often reminds us that every animal carries emotional memory within their body, and grooming is not just physical maintenance, but a healing conversation between human and dog built on patience and respect. The dog in front of you hesitates with uncertain eyes, scanning every movement, as if trying to decide whether this new human will bring comfort or more fear. You lower your hands slowly, not as an act of control, but as an offering of safety, and the room feels heavier, as if the past experiences of this dog are silently watching every decision you make. Then comes the moment of suspense when you realize the matting is deeper than expected, almost hiding the skin. Beneath, and every tool you prepare suddenly feels too small, too sharp, too risky for a soul. This sensitive. The dog shifts slightly, and a low sound escapes, not aggression, but fear. And in that instant, the entire room seems to pause. You remember the guiding philosophy of Dr. Karen Becker, who emphasizes that healing begins with listening to what the animal is not able to say in words, so you slow everything down. Even your breathing becomes deliberate as you prepare not to conquer the coat, but to earn permission from the dog itself. The first brush touches only the suit. When to carned. But instead, there is hesitation, then acceptance, as if prickending. Each stroke becomes a quiet negotiation between fear and relief. And slowly the body begins to soften. You notice something, a coat that once had shine and life, now hidden but not lost. And in that realization, there is a turning point where grooming stops being a task and becomes a null restoration of dignity. The room no longer feels tense, but instead, it carries a quiet rhythm of trust forming between human hands and a life that has waited far too long for gentle care. This is where patience becomes more powerful than speed, and where every careful movement reflects the teachings of Dr. Karen Becker, reminding us that true healing is never rushed but always earned through compassion and presence. Next, as the coat begins to release its knots, the dog finally exhales into safety, and you know this transformation is only beginning for a life. Rediscovering comfort. As the grooming process continues, the atmosphere in the room shifts from cautious tension into a fragile but growing rhythm of trust, and what was once resistance slowly begins to transform into cooperation that feels almost like a quiet conversation between two different worlds, learning how to understand each other, still uncertain yet increasingly calmer, allows the brush to move deeper into the layers of the coat, revealing hidden textures that have not seen light or care for what may have been months or even years. Each section of fur that releases from its tight knots feels like uncovering a forgotten chapter of the animal's life. And in that moment, you are reminded again of the principles often associated with Dr. Karen Becker, who emphasizes that healing in animals is never just about appearance, but about restoring comfort, mobility, and emotional balance at the same time. The grooming table becomes less of a workstation and more of a safe space where transformation is happening slowly and bathed deliberately. The dog occasionally shifts, not in panic anymore, but in cautious curiosity, as if beginning to realize that this experience is different from anything it has known before. There is suspense in these small pauses, because every groomer understands that trust at this stage is still fragile and can break with a single wrong movement. The matting near the shoulders proves more resistant, forcing you to pause and reassess your approach rather than pushing forward aggressively, because forcing the process would undo all the progress built so carefully. Until now, instead, you adjust your technique, working in smaller sections, supporting the skin gently with your hand so that each brush stroke feels grounded and secure. The dog responds with a slow lowering of its head, a subtle sign that fear is being replaced by acceptance. And this shift is more powerful than any visible change in the coat. As the grooming progresses, small details become meaningful indicators of healing, such as a relaxed tail, softened ears, and a steady breath that no longer holds tension in every inhale. You begin to see how deeply intertwined emotional state and physical condition truly are, a concept frequently highlighted in the teachings inspired by Dr. Karen Becker, who encourages a holistic understanding of animal wellness. The coat that once felt impenetrable now begins to separate into clean sections, and with each release, there is a sense of uncovering not just fur but the bintal that had been hidden beneath neglect. The room itself feels different now, quieter in a way that is not empty but peaceful, as though both groomer and dog have entered a shared understanding that does not require words, yet communicates everything necessary for trust to continue forming. In the final stage of the grooming process, the transformation becomes fully visible, not just in the appearance of the dog, but in the emotional presence that now fills the room with a calmness that once felt impossible at the beginning of this journey. The coat, once heavily matted and lifeless, now falls in softer layers, revealing a natural shine that had been buried beneath neglect and time. And every careful stroke of the brush feels like the completion of a long conversation between patience and healing. The dog, which once stood rigid with uncertainty, now rests more comfortably on the grooming table, occasionally shifting its weight not out of fear but out of relaxation, as it begins to understand that this process is no longer something to endure, but something that brings relief. The teachings often associated with Dr. Karen Becker come to mind again in this moment, especially her belief that animals are deeply responsive to calm, respectful handling, and that trust is built not through force but through consistent, gentle action that honors their emotional state. As the final mats are carefully removed, there is a visible difference not only in the coat but in the dog's entire posture, as if a physical burden that was once thought permanent has finally been lifted now. The room feels lighter now, almost as if it is sharing in the success of the transformation. And there is a quiet recognition that this is more than grooming. It is restoration of dignity and comfort that every living being deserves. Suspense gives way to relief as you check sensitive areas of the skin, ensuring there is no irritation or discomfort, and each careful inspection reinforces the importance of doing no harm while doing good. The dog responds with gentle eye contact, no longer avoiding interaction, but instead acknowledging presence with a softness that speaks louder than any sound could rock. The bond that has formed in this single session is fragile but real, built through patience, restraint, and respect for the animal's emotional journey rather than rushing toward completion for convenience. The final brushstrokes glide effortlessly now, as if the coat itself has accepted the change and is cooperating fully with the process of renewal. When the grooming is finally complete, the transformation stands as a quiet testament to what is possible when care is guided by compassion and understanding rather than urgency or control. This is the kind of moment that reflects the philosophy often shared by Dr. Karen Becker, where healing is seen as a partnership between human intention and animal trust, each reinforcing the other in a cycle of respect and awareness. And as the dog steps down gently from the table, more confident and visibly at ease, the experience closes not as an end, but as a beginning of a healthier life shaped by patience, consistency, and the belief that every animal deserves to be seen, heard, and cared for with unwavering kindness. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.